For this basic retouching, I am using Photoshop CC 2015. I'm using the online version, which I downloaded from Adobe. I am also using a MacBook Air and all the related keyboard commands such as Command, Spacebar, plus or minuses. This is a basic retouching overview. In this basic retouching portrait of this person, I will show you the final product before and after. This is the original picture, and when you open it up, there's only one layer. When you finish, you can save it as a PSD file, as a Photoshop file, and you might have more layers. So let's just show you the product. Go into the Photoshop. I have already the picture open. I have used a mask to soften the skin. I have used a layer to fix the blemishes, so you can see the before and after. You notice how when I click the eye icon on and off, and then of course this is the original layer. So let's just go back to the original picture. So when you work with portraits, it's important to bring the person's face really close to the screen in such a way that when you apply the tools you can see the wrinkles. At the moment it's too small to see, so you have to hold the command key and the plus sign, and that brings the person's face really close to you. Command minus puts it away, a command plus brings it close to you. If the face is off the screen, you can move it right or left by holding down the space bar, and then with the left mouse button you grab the face and you can move it left or right while you're holding down the space button, and you just let go. The tools we're going to use are this tool right here, and its name is the clone stamp, and we're going to adjust the mode from normal to lightning, and then we're going to take the capacity from 100% down to about 25%. Some people recommend the opacity should be somewhere between 10 and 30%. It's a personal preference. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a copy of the background, and to do this there's two ways. One, we can use the keyboard shortcut Command J, or we can go to the top of the menu that says layer and select a duplicate layer. It does both the shortcut commands, of course, and those commands are the same. Now we can rename this to, we're going to call this retouch. And that's the first step. Is we're going to reduce the wrinkles in this man's forehead. We're going to use the clone stamp tool, the capacity is to 25%, and the blending mode to lightning. Make sure you click on this layer, the retouch, not the original one. So let's just bring his picture a little closer. So we go Command plus, and with the space bar and my left mouse button, I move it so it's a little easier to see and work on. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to sample the skin that is smooth by holding down the Option key and clicking left mouse below. We let go of the Option key, and then with the mouse we can just click and trying to smoothen out these wrinkles. You have to do it over and over again, browsing with your mouse. You will notice that the eye icon here on this layer, when you're clicking it on and off, it shows you the work of your brush strokes on the left. Let's just do a little more. So I'm going to go to the left here, Option, Sample, and then let go, and then with the mouse just kind of go over the wrinkles. Option, left click again, and we're going to go over that again. Option, Sample, brush. Go here, Option, Sample, brush. Okay, when you go back to this layer on the right and I click the eye, you can see the brush strokes on the left. That's how you reduce the wrinkles in somebody's forehead. When you finish, it's important to put the mode back to normal. Back to normal. We continue on to the wrinkles under the eyes, and we repeat the process. We are using the clone stamp. We have to make sure the blending mode is back to lightening to reduce the shadows in the wrinkles. Make sure that your brush hardness is 0. And we're going through the same process. So make sure you're on this layer, on the retouch. And then we go option sampling under the eye. We let go the option key, and then with the mouse we just brush, brush, brush. And then option sampling, and then brush, brush, brush. It is a tedious exercise, of course, and it takes time and patience. Option, sample, and then brush. So you go back on the side, and you option sampling, and then brush, brush, brush. And you will notice when you uncheck the eye, and you can see the slight changes and your brush strokes. And that is the step number 4. In this step, we're going to get rid of the scruffy hairs at the back of his neck. Make sure you click on the layer retouch. Let's press the Control minus to make this smaller small, to make this picture smaller, and then we can see the hair behind his neck. So if we enlarge the picture by doing Command plus, then I can hold the space bar, and with my left mouse button I can move this picture up so I can see a little bit more. Command plus to make it a little bigger, come a little closer. Space bar, left mouse button, bring it here. We're going to use the clone stamp in the normal blending mode. So make sure you go to the mode and you go select normal. The capacity, you can leave it to 25%. The brush, as you can see, is fairly large, but you can size it up by using the left bracket, which is below the plus or minuses, and the right bracket makes it bigger and the left is smaller. And what we need to do, we need to sample by doing option click of the environment behind the neck, and then now we let go of the option, and with the mouse we go over, and as you can see, the hair basically gets blended with the background. Once you satisfy is done, you can go back to your layer and unclick the eye, and you can see the hair on and off. Now we can go Command minus, and we can put our chef back to a picture that we can see better. That's step number 5. Now we're going to move on to softening his skin, and that's going to require creating a new layer. Let's duplicate retouch layer, and we can name it Skin Soften. To soften his skin, we're going to take advantage of one of Photoshop's most powerful and significant tools. Masking allows us to selectively show and hide parts of a layer using almost all of the Photoshop's functionality to do so. In this step, we're going to start by running a blur filter on the new Skin Soften layer. We're going to go to the top of our screen where the commands are. We're going to select Filter, Blur, Gaussian blur. This window allows you to select the amount of blurring you want in this picture. A good way of thinking about this, it is the question, how much blur do you want? And you can increase the number to the point where the picture, it looks like you're looking through it, a frosted glass or a shower curtain. For this photo, 15 pixels works. Now here's where things get interesting. At the bottom of the layers panel is a button that kind of resembles the flag of Japan. This button with a circle inside is the Add a Mask button. Let's just click on it. As you can see, it created a mask next to the layer. A layer mask is a black and white layer attached to any given layer, where the white part of the mask will show the corresponding areas of the layer, and the black parts of the mask will hide the corresponding areas of the layer. The key to understanding masking is to remember that white shows and black hides. By default, the layer mask is entirely white, meaning it's showing everywhere, and therefore nothing seems to change. We're going to make the mask all black though. To do that, you have to invert the image. And to do that, you can use your keyboard shortcut, Command I. This will make the mask turn black, and the blurry face will appear sharp again, as our mask is now entirely hiding this layer. Remember the phrase, white shows and black hides. So the black mask is hiding the layer. Now we brush in the skin softening. To brush on a mask, make sure you're highlighting the mask, and then you have to use the Paintbrush tool, which is this tool on the left. If we want to show the skin softening, we need to brush with white. At the bottom of the toolbar are the color swatches. The left one is the foreground, the black one, which controls the color of our brush, and the right one is the background color, which is only relevant in certain specific cases. So when you double click on the foreground icon, you will notice at the bottom left corner I have clicked on it to select full black. So I want my foreground color icon to be a solid color. And when we're brushing, because the mask is black, we need to turn our color icon to white, so we can switch by clicking on these arrows. Now our brush will be white, and when we start with our mouse clicking, we can see that it removes and softens the skin. As always, doing any kind of retouching, bring the opacity down to perhaps lower than 67%, maybe 25%. And when softening the skin, we want to carefully paint inside the face, avoiding the eyes, mouth, nostrils, and eyebrows. Start by doing little critical areas carefully. And when filling in the safe areas away from critical details, like you don't want to go through the eyes or very close to the eyebrows, so you be very careful. You can increase or decrease, of course, the size of your brush with the bracket to the right, make it big, or the left bracket, make it smaller. After a while, you should be able to get the image to the point shown in before and after. So you can go and check the eye icon and you can see your softening. There you go. So you keep doing as much as you want. So you don't want to take the skin softening way too far. You don't want to make him look too plastic. That's it. The final step is to bring down the whole opacity of the skin soften layer lower to 50%. You will notice at the right side here there's another opacity button and we can bring this down to 50%. So if you have this layer clicked, you can change the opacity to as much or as little as you like. And you can see on the left the person's face to change according to the opacity. And that is the last step. The final step is to bring down the whole opacity of the skin soften layer lower to 50%. You will notice at the right side here there's another opacity button and we can bring this down to 50%. You can adjust this photo and you can change the opacity of the whole masking. So if you have this layer clicked, you can change the opacity to as much or as little as you like. And you can see on the left the person's face to change according to the opacity. And that is the last step. In conclusion, I'd just like to go over some of the steps that we did. The first thing we did is we made a copy of this layer by using Command J. And on this layer, we use tools like the stamp tool, opacity, and the mode to make adjustments to the person's blemishes, like wrinkling and under the eyes and on the forehead. The last step we did is we created a new layer and we applied a filter and then we added a mask. Once we had the mask added, we changed it to the white brush and we brushed off some of that filter, and then we adjusted the opacity to bring it down to 50%. And that's basically this basic retouching lesson in 10 easy steps.